Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Always Never 5555 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole for demanding back a loaned antique that wasn't supposed to be a gift? I, 45 female, have a dear friend, Lauren, 43 female. We grew up together and she was a bridesmaid at my wedding 20 years ago. Several years ago, my husband and I had a great opportunity to work and live abroad for a few years. It required that we sell our house and most of our belongings and put the rest in storage. One item I did not want to let go was a beautiful antique crystal lamp that belonged to my late grandmother. It holds many important memories for me. Unfortunately, our storage unit was so full that I was afraid I wouldn't be able to squeeze it in without giving up something else we wanted to keep. I mentioned this dilemma to Lauren, and she jumped in with an offer to hold on to the lamp for me. She said it would look gorgeous in her living room, and she would be proud to display it there until we got back. I was thrilled. Well, our time abroad recently came to an end, and we're now back in the US. We bought a new house, collected our belongings from storage, and are in the process of furnishing it. I asked Lauren for my lamp back, and she got all pissy and said that she understood it was a gift. I reminded her that it was a family heirloom that she promised to keep for me until I got back. She insists that's not how she remembers it. She said she adores this lamp. It's the focal point of her living room decor, and that if I demanded it back, our friendship would be over. I'm heartbroken. She is one of my oldest friends, and while she can be quirky, she's never done anything like this before. I don't want to lose her friendship, but I also don't want to lose a treasured family heirloom. It's also worth quite a bit of money. It appraised at over $2,000. To be clear, I am 100% confident that I did not tell her it was hers to keep. Given our lifelong friendship, I thought it was safe to leave it with her. I can't even fathom why she thinks I gave it to her. We're not rich, and I would never give a gift that expensive to anyone. To make matters worse, I told my sister about all of this, and she hit the roof. That lamp holds memories for her too, and she was livid that it might be lost to our family. I've always intended to pass it down to my own daughter, so last week I told Lauren I want the lamp. She burst into tears and accused me of putting material things over friendship, but said she'd give it back. Although she keeps coming up with excuses why she's been too busy to either bring it over or let me come by to get it. Now I'm wondering if she's right. Is a lifelong friendship more important than a lamp? Am I the arsehole for demanding it back, hurting Lauren's feelings and making her think I don't care about our friendship? And I'm just going to read the top comment here because I feel exactly the same. Top commenter said, she's the one who issued the ultimatum. She's the one who would rather have her aesthetic house with a lamp than you as a friend. She's the one who convinced herself you'd let her keep her beloved antique, despite the fact that she literally only has possession of it because you wanted to keep it. Her own logic and story is full of holes and she knows it. That's why she's going nuclear. When was the last time you were at her house? Have you seen this lamp recently? Are you sure it hasn't been broken or sold? Or is she just really so deluded that she built a room around an item she doesn't own and has been showing off her antique for years? Opie says, yeah, I have to agree with you. Thanks for your comment. Oh, and yes, I did swing by a house to say hello a few weeks ago when we first got back, and the lamp was there. I didn't ask for it back at the time because we're still in the process of buying a house, so I had no place to put it. But I do now, and damn it, I want it back. Opie responded to a deleted user and said, I'm hoping she's just behaving like this because she really did remember it wrong. It's been a few years after all, and just hasn't come to terms yet with losing something that she clearly has fallen in love with. I'll try to reason with her and see what happens, but all of the responses in here are solidifying my initial belief that I am not in the wrong by demanding it back. Commenter says to OP, having read most of the responses so far, I think if it was me, I'd send a letter, email, whatever that puts this good advice together and points out the flawed logic that she is using, and then give her a few days to think and reconsider. It seems like this behavior is really out of the blue from what you described, OP, so maybe something's gone wrong. I mean, who knows? It could be that she was always like this and you didn't see it. Friendship sometimes be like that. But there might be something else going on. If a little time and a clear-headed look at the whole situation doesn't elicit a reversal on her part, then I agree with all the posts that suggest pursuing the lamp through whatever means you need to, because in the end, this is the final part of your boundary, and she has made the decision to sacrifice a friendship. What a shame. Hope she sees the light. I'm sorry, it was just right there and I'll see myself out. OP responds saying, I wish I had time to respond to all these comments, but right now I'm just responding to the few that really strike home. So yeah, you've touched on multiple important points. First, this is definitely not normal behavior, but I mentioned she's a bit quirky. What I meant by that is that she can be a bit OCD, so maybe what's going on here is that for some reason she has become kind of obsessed with this lamp and has convinced herself she's in the right. I tend to be a compassionate person, and it sounds like you are too in recognizing that maybe something's gone wrong in her life, leading to this bizarre behavior. Given that I've been overseas for the past few years, it's possible there's something going on that I don't know about, although we have kept in touch from afar, and she hasn't mentioned any major issues. But your point is worth exploring. I've read all your responses so far, and they have confirmed for me that I'm not in the wrong by asking for it back. I still would like to think there's a chance of saving the relationship. I like your idea of trying to have a rational conversation with her, maybe in writing, and trying to dig into what might be going on in her life, causing her not to see logic in my right to ask for it back. Best case scenario, she senses my compassion and I care for her in asking what might be going wrong in her life, rethinks her position in keeping the lamp and agrees to give it back and talk things out with me. Thanks again for your feedback, and your witty last line gave me a giggle. Another commenter says, OP, something that's not been touched on that will be a likely default on Lauren's behalf is that she will do everything to play the victim in your social circles and paint you as a pariah, since she's already threatening you with throwing away a 20-year friendship over a lamp. In today's social media obsessed world, she'll come out as the one who has been wronged. OP says you make a very good point. The good news is that she's not really much into social media. We do have a lot of friends in common, but she's generally not the type to go around airing dirty laundry. I'm still hoping she'll rethink her position and we can put this behind us, as I'm willing to forgive and forget, but either way, I'm getting that lamp back. OP saying, she's not the one to go around airing dirty laundry. I mean, OP didn't really expect to take the lamp in the first place, right? OP on trusting Lauren in the first place. They said, as you pointed out, I didn't just give it to someone to use and potentially destroy. I trusted it with someone I've known my whole life, who has never done anything to harm me, as I felt better about it being with her than collecting dust in storage, and I figured my grandma would appreciate knowing it was being shown and loved while I was away. I posted this question to find out if I'm the arsehole for wanting it back, not for trusting her with it in the first place. If trusting a lifelong friend means I suck, well then, I don't want to not suck. Obviously it turns out my trust was misplaced, but I don't blame myself for trusting her in the first place. And some of the questions in this one did have me thinking on my thoughts about the situation, about having some compassion for her, etc. And I usually like to think that I'm compassionate towards people in the stories and try to think about what they're going through, etc. But I don't know, I kind of felt like the heirloom is priority in the situation. Like one of the comments said that she made all these choices about the friendship. She's decided that, no, I'm going to keep it, etc. So one of my initial thoughts was, just go round, knock on the door, say hello, have a little chat over some tea, etc. and then just pick up the lamp and walk out afterwards. She can make her decisions from that point on. And then you can potentially find out if there's something further going on. But sometime later, OP comes in with her update and says, I got the lamp back. I want to thank everyone who commented for all the support. Helped me to see how I was allowing Lauren to manipulate me into believing that somehow I was in the wrong for wanting my lamp back. Early this morning I drove over to her house. It's Saturday, so I figured she'd be home, and she was. I could tell as soon as she opened the door that she knew why I was there. And yes, the lamp was there. Someone commented a suggestion that I bring her a bottle of wine to thank her for caring for the lamp, and I thought that was a great idea. Lauren does love wine. I brought a very nice bottle that we brought back from abroad. I said I'm sorry things have gotten tense between us, and I do value her friendship very much. I handed her the bottle and told her this is a gift to say thank you for taking such good care of my grandma's lamp. I said I'm sorry if there was any confusion about my intention in letting you hold on to it, but I think you know now how important that heirloom is to me and my family, and I need to take it back. She kept saying she believed it was a gift, but I stood my ground and said she is remembering it wrong. I reminded her that this was a family heirloom. I said, think about this. To you, it's a pretty lamp. To me, it's a reminder of my departed grandma and all the wonderful time spent in her house with this lamp lighting up a living room. How could she argue with that? I didn't get angry. I remained calm but firm. In the end, she just threw her hands up and said, fine. And I unplugged the lamp, gave her a hug and left. She was clearly upset, but I didn't stick around to see how she reacted. I don't know what's going to happen with our friendship. I will say that I feel differently about her now. But if she is willing to move past this, so am I. Lifelong friends are hard to come by, and one dispute shouldn't end it. If we do move forward, I will know not to trust her with something like this again. But it's entirely possible I will never hear from her again. I don't plan on reaching out anytime soon. There were too many comments for me to address them all, but I want to answer a few questions. First, I wasn't going to get the police involved. This is a civil matter, not criminal. I know I had the option of small claims court, and I guess I would have if necessary. I have plenty of photos of that lamp in my other house, and even in my grandma's living room. My sister lives in another state, so bringing her wasn't an option. My husband would have come with me, but I wanted to try work this out between us. Yes, I should have gone something in writing before we left, but it was a very chaotic time, and I didn't think about anything but being grateful. I didn't have to figure out how to squeeze the lamp into storage. Lesson learned. I don't really care what she says to our mutual friends. If anyone asks me about it, I'll tell them the truth. The top commenter on that one says, well done on getting your lamp back and remaining calm and kind. It's a difficult balance in situations like that. It's also so sad that we/you have to think to get something confirmed in writing when trusting a lifelong friend. I think you can walk away with your head high and conscience intact. It's now down to Lauren to decide what sort of person she is. Opie says thank you, and you bring up an important point. I did take some heat in the comments for not getting anything in writing, and while I admit I honestly didn't even think about this at the time, we're getting ready to move overseas, things were crazy. I think that even if I had, I might not have done it. It would have made for an awkward conversation, implying that I don't trust someone who I've known for my entire life. She's always been a bit sensitive, and I'm pretty sure that discussion would have been uncomfortable at best. Kinda like asking the fiancé for a prenup. It shows that you think there's a chance something will go wrong, and to an emotionally sensitive person, that may not go over very well. But like the divorced person who learns a hard lesson about not getting a prenup, I know better now. Commenter says, it doesn't need to be a formal letter, even just a text saying, thanks for looking after my lamp whilst we're away. It's such a sentimental heirloom, but know it's in great hands and really appreciate taking the time to watch over it for me. When we get back and move it into our place, we'll have to have a housewarming. You can bring the lamp instead of a bottle. Opie says, yep, I wish I'd done that. My only excuse is that it was such a chaotic time. I made some other mistakes during that time too, bringing stuff with us overseas that we shouldn't have brought, not bringing stuff that we should have, not completely understanding the culture we're moving into, etc. Fortunately, none of those mistakes were fatal. And hey, I got my lamp back, so this wasn't either. And one more from Dull Income who says perfection. So glad my suggestion of wine eased the transaction. Merry Christmas. And Opie says, so you're the person who suggested the wine. I was trying to find your comment again. That really was a great idea, and I do believe it made a difference. Thanks again. And I'm glad that OP got the lamp back in the end. It kind of feels like Friend still isn't backing down, which I think ultimately is just going to continue to damage the relationship. You know, she could have turned around and said, yeah, absolutely sorry, I overreacted there or whatever, but she doesn't seem to be doing that. Throwing your hands up and saying fine isn't really a amicable way to end things, is it? But I think OP dealt with it in a really good way. Didn't overreact, just was firm with her. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Ali Ramadan 0, who says, am I the arsehole for telling my older brother he deserved to be dumped after he made fun of me crying? Hey Reddit, I'm a 15-year-old guy, and this week has been one of the hardest of my life. My dog Romeo passed away unexpectedly a few days ago. He wasn't just a dog. A lot of people get what I mean. He was my best friend, and the closest thing to me since I was 3. I didn't think it would hit me this hard, but it did. Now, here's the thing. My older brother, 20 male, is the stereotypical tough guy. Super popular, full of confidence, high school musical type shit. But he also has a bad habit of dismissing anything that doesn't fit into his worldview. We've never been that close. He thinks I'm too sensitive, and I think he's a bit of an ass. But I genuinely thought he'd understand how much Romeo meant to me. I mean, even if he didn't care about Romeo, he could have at least respected that I did, right? You guessed it, he didn't. Yesterday, I was sitting in the living room, looking through old photos of Romeo on my phone, and to be honest, I was crying. I thought I was alone. Then my brother walked in, took one look at me, and started laughing menacingly. Literally, it sounded like, apologies if I butcher this, I haven't seen it, do flamingo from One Piece. He said things like, "You're really crying over a dog," and "man up, it's just an animal." I tried to ignore him at first and asked him to stop, but that just seemed to make him more of an arsehole. He kept going, saying things like, "What's next? You're gonna hold a funeral for him?" And even pretended to cry in a mocking way. I don't know what changed in me, but I snapped. I was hurt, angry, and just so fed up with how shitty he was being. I remembered that not long ago his girlfriend of 2 years had broken up with him. Ever since, he's been moping around the house, blasting sad breakup songs and talking to anyone who will listen about how heartbroken he is. So I looked him dead in the eye and said, "At least my just an animal loved me. Your girl clearly didn't love you the way she cheated on you. At least my dog died loving me. Your girl is still alive and didn't love you." He froze, completely silent. Then his face went red and he stormed out the room without saying a word. Fast forward to later, my parents heard about what happened, thanks to him of course, and told me I was out of line. They said I went too far and that I should apologize because what I said was cruel. But here's the thing, I don't feel like I owe him an apology. He mocked me while I was grieving, dismissed my feelings, and only stopped when I hit him where it hurt. I know what I said was harsh. I know it wasn't the nicest thing I could have said, but honestly, he started it. If he'd just shown me a shred of emotion or even left me alone, I wouldn't have gone there. Now my parents are pressuring me to make things right with him, but I don't see why I should have to apologize when he was the one who started being shitty first. Am I the arsehole? Commenter asked for some info saying, the stereotypical tough guy, super popular, full of confidence, high school type shit, and then says, the stereotypical tough guy who does musicals? Opie says, no, I meant like the typical Disney Channel tough guy. Thanks for this comment though, it gave me a laugh. Next commenter says to OP, not the arsehole. Ask your parents where they are when he starts teasing you. Tell them no. A 20-year-old who makes fun of a sibling for crying over a pet is heartless. It also makes me wonder if he has a mental illness, maybe a psychopath or sociopath. I suggest you stay away from him. He has some serious problems. I cried like a baby when my pet died. Tell your parents he's 20, not 2, and he needs to apologize. Go low contact with him when you move out of the house. Opie says thank you for this. I'm very sorry for your loss as well. Commenter says, did you share your side of the story with your parents? Why you said what you said, or do they only have your brother's version of events? It doesn't matter. They're clearly just asking you to say sorry to keep the peace because it's easier than being parents. You can offer a non-apology. You know, the sorry you got offended type that'd just make it worse. No apology or just something to satisfy all parties. In a few years you have options of whether or not to be in your brother's life or allow him in yours. Sometimes playing the long game is more beneficial. Also, sorry about your pup. OP says, I did share it with my parents. They told me that what I did was still not justified, and I know how my brother is. They did, however, sympathize with me, and I'm just hoping they can do something about it. I really do want to be in his life, and I want to get closer to him, but I do want to change myself so I can achieve that. Thank you. Commenter says, how your brother is. I mean, how they let him get to be because they keep making excuses for him and forcing those he hurts, you, to be the bigger person. How is he 100% on them, and by pushing you to apologize in order to smooth things over, they are failing you, the child, in favor of a grown adult? And OP says, damn, that's true. There's many people being kind and supportive to OP in the comments about losing pets and okay to cry and all that good stuff, because absolutely it is. And it's really sad and heartbreaking that a 20-year-old looks at their brother who's crying and doesn't show them support. I'd be devastated if I saw a family member crying and would want to comfort and support them in any way I can. But OP did come in with an update and said, long story short, I think my parents had a talk with him. And if not, he just came to his senses. He came and knocked on my door and I opened it. He gave me the biggest hug he's ever given me in such a long time. It was much needed for both of us. He apologized and told me how he realized how much of an arsehole he was being. He has changed for the worse and has just realized it. I apologized as well for reminding him of his girlfriend and roasting the shit out of him, which he deserved to be fair. We legitimately had some bonding time where we kept apologizing and playing FIFA and just talked everything out. And we both agreed to try and be better with each other and our parents and just try to become the best versions of ourselves. I was genuinely so flabbergasted that they actually did that because I haven't seen my brother show emotions in a long time. But these 2 days have somehow changed him, and I'm not complaining. Thank you so much for everyone for the advice. I really appreciate it, and I'm so grateful for everyone who cared to read and comment. Reading these positive comments made my week. It made me know how I was right and wrong and what I can do to improve myself. Again, thank you guys. Another edit. We actually are going to make a funeral for Romeo. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Do you think the parents did get him to apologize? Do you think he came to his own senses? Maybe he even read the post. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go.